Good morning. What is going on, everybody? Here we go this week. New time, new format. Not yet, but we are having a new format coming. So thank you for always hanging out for us. Thank you for always watching. We got a quick announcement. There are 20 tickets left before we are completely sold out for the March 10 CE Hour event. If you are an Illinois stylist, you need some hours, and you're looking to get half of them in one day, March 10, Downers Grove, Illinois. Go to htbbeauty.com, register. At the pace we're going, I've been saying this, but at the pace we're going on the daily registrations, it is going to sell out. May 19th is the second date, and that one's already starting to pre-sell. So I understand your schedule, your life and everything, but don't wait too long because tickets are going. It's the response for it has been absolutely amazing. So thank you everybody for the response, and we look forward to seeing you guys on March 10.
Do I need to say anything? Should I just stand?
Good morning, John.
Nod my head. I'm excited. I'm excited for March 10th. The format for the class that we have laid out, it's going to be informative, somewhat entertaining. And at some point, an organ grinder will come and the two of us will dance like two little monkeys. I do have a question, though, that just came to mind as I was watching our intro. Do you still have that double-breasted suit jacket that you have on in the beginning of that video?
Oh, man. I do. That was a jacket, man. I do.
I just want to know, did the pimp hat come with it too?
You know what? I'll tell you what. Brian, we were walking through, God, I don't even remember what store it was. We were walking through and I just stopped and I'm staring at it and he's going, "What the hell is that?" I go, "This, sir, is my next stage outfit." And there was the pants, there was the silver pants that went with it too. It was mental. I remember walking in the first time and you turning around looking at me. You did a double take.
I was waiting for the theme to the movie Shaft to be playing when you walked into the room.
It was fantastic.
Well, and then there's that other jacket you have where it's like imprinted on the back. You can just vaguely see it, and I think it says F off.
FU2.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how I find these things. They're the most random. Oh, yeah. I know exactly how I find these things. I'm attracted to random things.
Yeah. I think that those things find you personally. But so we've got kind of a fun day. This is a good one for Tuesday morning. So are you ready for your revamped beauty quiz?
Revamped beauty quiz?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. We're about to find out.
Well, you know what? You're batting. If you were a Major League Baseball player, you would be batting about 700. Is
that good?
That's great.
That's great.
That's great. You've been doing really great. So
is this going to throw me a curveball now? I'm going to be batting 1,000.
Well, no, you'll be. Hopefully, I get you down to batting around 300.
Oh, lower is worse. Okay, gotcha.
So, I kind of went down a rabbit hole a little bit with you with this. So, we're going to start out with who created the first aerosol hairspray? A. Vidal Sassoon. B. Helene Curtis. C. Paul Mitchell. Or D. Nexus.
All right, so this is the curveball you're going to throw me. We're back to history lessons.
You said you missed them, so here you are.
Helene Curtis or Nexus. I think I'm gonna go with Helene Curtis. I have no idea.
You are correct. Helene Curtis came out with the first hairspray in 1950. It was called
1950.
1950. It was called Spray Net.
Okay.
Its successor then turned into Aquanet. Now, here's some fun and what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix a little history lesson into this too.
Okay.
What motivated Helene Curtis to use a compressed aerosol system was during World War II, which was only 5 years before that. It ended in 45, right? The soldiers were using a aerosol compressed bug spray, especially in the Pacific and stuff like that. So, and that's where they took that technology and moved it forward into mixing in instead a fixative for the hair.
And that is cool.
Wait, because I went completely into my nerd wallet. Okay, original hairspray actually had a gum derivative in it.
Oh,
yeah, that's why Aquanet. I don't know if you remember when you were in beauty school, you'd have the old ladies come in and they've got like about 3/4 of a can of Aquanet on their head because for their weekly set. And remember, you used to have to shampoo them 3 times before you get it all out of the hair.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. There's a little history for you.
That's awesome.
So you learned something. Awesome.
So then I wonder, Nexus I know came later. I know Helene Curtis is one of the original beauty icons in the industry, especially in the development of perms and hairsprays. I think those are the two main things that company or her and that company was known for. I know Paul Mitchell came later on. He's I think out of those 4 options, what'd you say? It was Sassoon, Paul Mitchell, Helene Curtis, and Nexus?
Yep.
Paul Mitchell is actually the youngest one out of all of them.
Yeah. So then, along these lines, true or false? In earlier times, egg whites, honey, and vinegar were used for hold and shine on the hair.
This tossed salad going into your cupboard, that is breakfast, man. That should not be a hair care regimen.
But before there were commercial hair products.
Oh, this is for its time, you're saying.
Yeah, like I said, before all of this, true or false? People use those.
Okay, that is true. Yes, that was true for then. As long as I say it was true for then. It should not be true for now. We have technology now. For the love of God, we have technology now.
Yes.
I mean, if that's the case, we should all be like, what was that comedian dude? I'm gonna live in a van down by the river.
Chris Farley.
Yeah, we should just all be washing our clothes with a washboard.
Yeah. But if we go back to your favorite person in history, Cleopatra, she used all those things for her hair.
That was natural technology for its time. She was an innovator.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I defend it to death.
Okay, here's a good one for you. True or false? The term mousse is French for foam.
I mean, I'm true. It has to be true.
You, my friend, are 3 for 3. Yes,
because what is mousse? It's either a souffle. It's either the lyrics to Bohemian Rhapsody, or it's French for foam. I don't know what is.
It is a French term for foam.
It's a French term for foam.
L'Oreal brought the first mousse to the American retail market in, here's your choice, 1960, 1920, 1980, or 1950.
Oh, boy. You know what? Okay. We just learned hairspray came in 1950. So I'm going to say hairspray ruled the world for about a good decade, and then the mousse was introduced in the 60s as the evolution of styling came about.
You're 2 decades early, 1980.
Really?
1980s when L'Oreal brought the first mousse to market.
Okay. You know what? Okay, here's a rabbit hole for me then. So hairspray became a thing with Helene Curtis in the 50s. Sassoon commercialized hairstyling in the 60s. Okay. 70s was hippies. 60s and 70s was hippies, and then the 80s people started.
All the other women were getting washing sets, so they were getting gel.
They were getting gels. Okay, and then in the 80s we had hairbands.
Well, big hair mousse. Actually, here's some more trivia. Here's some more more history knowledge for you. From 1980 to 87, in the beauty industry, it was known as mousse mania. Because everybody had big hair.
Mousse mania.
Yeah, from 80 to 87. And 1986, over $200 million of mousse was sold.
That's a respectable amount of man. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, for the 80s, $200 million in a year, that's a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying. That's a respectable in that time. If you adjust for inflation and blah blah blah, now what is that like $500,000? I mean, $500 million, $500 million probably by today's standards.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, in the 80s, I should find it. My prom picture. I swear to God, my
you spent $200 million. That's where the $200 million of mousse came from. Your prom.
My prom date was like 6'3" with her hair.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about your fro or your.
No, dude, I just had the bad mullet.
You just had the mullet.
I had a bad mullet. But really think about that. I mean, but think about. I mean, really, what motivated me with this is really talking about how important products have become for our clients. And not to step up on a soapbox or anything like that, but people that they did a study, 70% of the people who leave your chair will buy something for their hair, whether it be shampoo, conditioner product, a brush, whatever, something for their hair, within 24 hours of leaving your chair.
Okay.
That was done by I read that in Modern Salon. So my point being is why are they going to Target? Why are they going on to Amazon when they can get almost everything they need for their hair from you, me, anybody watching when they're leaving your chair? Hey, here's that. Here's that mousse that you bought, that I just used on you, mousse. Here's shampoo and conditioner. Take care of your color. You can do anything to it. The problem being is that everybody's so scared. But products are huge. People will spend money on their hair products, and why are they not buying it from you? That's my question.
It's true. And if you care about your clients, you should care about saving them money. You should sell them moose because that could be used about 50 to 75 uses, whereas a carton of eggs is, or it's a dozen. You can only use that 12 times if you only use one at a time. A moose is about 15, 20 bucks. Eggs is $9 right now, and it's probably going to become 15, 20 bucks. So,
and after you separate the egg white to use it as a hair fixative, what do you do with the yolk?
You throw it at your siblings or your children
or your spouse.
You should be throwing it at somebody is what you should be doing. You should be
awesome.
splatting it.
That is awesome. What's next on our agenda today, my friend? What do we got going on?
We're staying right on topic with the clients, man. I love this time of the year because it's the clients that come in, they're like, oh my God, whatever you did last time was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And it's like, yeah, well, that's going to change now. You can't have that no more. And they're like, no, but I really loved it. I'm like, look, that was your holiday hair. That's why you loved it. Okay. We touched that up for you after the holiday. Now we need to start switching gears and getting you ready for the next season, which is spring is right around the corner. So we got to start changing and getting you ready. And, it's evolution. They're like, oh man. I'm like, what? Like, no, you can't have it anymore. You loved it. That's great. Now it's time to change it.
Well, I've got a different subject for you. Because I think that's something that we should really get deep into next week.
Okay.
Is the costs of products for all of our shops coming up. And it's a hot button topic. We're all going through it. And I think that we should really dive into that.
Okay. All right. If you want to do that, listen, I'm going to tell you this. You kick us off because, that one, the phone calls that I've been having to deal with in this past, the past couple of months, I should say, the pretty much the majority of last year, but especially in this past couple of months, I'm not hearing good stuff, man. That's become a very sensitive hot button topic.
I don't. And once again, I'm not ragging. This isn't going to turn into a complaint fest. My whole thought of all this is that we're all in the same boat. And how do I say this without doing a shameless plug? You really need to examine, first off, your costs. Your cost per application. Everybody should know. I don't care whether you're in a massive salon or you are a independent and everybody in between, okay? You need to really look at what your cost per application is as far as color, smoothing system, everything that goes into it. And then, but yeah, that's great. You realize that it's costing you $6.08 for an application of color. Okay. And I'm not saying I don't know what color line that is. I'm just using that off the top of my head. But then you also have to take into account, that's great. The cost of color and everything has gone up, but also what's the cost of your time? What's the cost of the knowledge that you have in your head? Because everybody gets so freaked out of, oh my gosh, I can't raise my prices. I'll lose clients. If $5 is going to chase someone out of your chair, I'll be the egomaniac that says it. Is that someone you really want in your chair?
I think it's even further complicated than that. There is no easy way to approach this subject. You know, inflation is out of control. In current time, where we are right now in life, inflation is out of control. And it's out of control because people. All right, look, everything is going to cost more money. That's just the way of life. Very few times in your lifetime is the cost of things going to go down. Even when things spike, I'll use gasoline as a great example. Okay. And depending on where you are in your area, John and I are in the Chicagoland area in Illinois. And in the Chicagoland area, it is probably the second or the third highest in the country, right behind New York and California.
And Hawaii.
All right. Hawaii, the reason why I'm not going to pick on Hawaii is only because you can get from one side of Hawaii to the other within an hour. Like there isn't that much drivable space.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha.
We just from here to downtown takes an hour and a half with traffic. Without traffic, you can get downtown in 20 freaking minutes. It is ridiculous. You know, in LA, driving in LA with traffic, getting anywhere, you know, in 20 minutes also takes an hour. You know, in New York, forget about it. You're just freaking bumper to bumper, you know. You get further slamming your horn than you do driving in New York. I'm from New York originally. I freaking know. When a gallon of gas is $5 to $7, and that's regular, that's not even premium. Okay, that's just regular gas. And I hate these comparisons. Yeah, well, over here, you know, they charge this much for a gallon. They charge that much for a gallon. Go to hell. Okay, to fill up your car, it's 10 to 15 gallons on a small vehicle. It's 15 to 20 gallons on a larger vehicle. You are not purchasing 1 gallon at a time. Okay, so yeah, $100 to fill up a tank is not an exaggeration. It's ridiculous, is what the freaking hell that is. Reason why I'm harping on gas is because a lot of product, a lot of supplies for us is moved across the country by truck. A lot of it's brought over by air freight. A lot of it's brought over by container, by ships. A lot of stuff is imported. And the cost of all of that is factored into the cost of the goods that we purchase. All right. Now, most hair color is sold in 2-ounce tubes. The price for a 2-ounce tube for the past 5 years has been steadily increasing into ranges that are just obscene. It's not my opinion. This is an overall beauty industry opinion. The price for a 2-ounce tube of hair color is just been getting steadily out of control. And now they're further freaking talking about raising the price into the higher double digits. That's what's being argued and entertained right now, is raising the price into high double digits. It's unprecedented. And this is what a lot of hairdressers are freaking out. Mm-hmm. Because if hair color is one of the main supply that we purchase every week behind shampoo and conditioner. Well, I think hair color is purchased more than shampoo and conditioner is.
It's the most costly of our overheads. Yes.
Of our overheads. Now, if that starts going into high double digits, then naturally everything else is going to follow suit and be right behind it. And so if you have to import a lot of supply and everything is inflated. Look, I was just making fun of $9 freaking eggs. You know, Carmelina and we was at the grocery last night. She goes, should we get some eggs? I go, absolutely not. I just refuse. I love omelets. I love, you know, skillet. I love breakfast food is my favorite freaking food. I'll have breakfast food for dinner. I love freaking breakfast food. Guess what? Not anymore. I refuse to pay more than $2 for a freaking dozen eggs. Even $2 pisses me off. But I refuse to pay more than $2 for eggs. I'm not freaking doing it. I'm not. Now, a 2-ounce tube of color costing 20 something freaking dollars. That's what they're talking about. No way. No way. I'm not doing that either. It's just not doing it. So then what is the alternative? What's the options?
Well, for me personally, is working more with American-made companies where the color is produced here in America. And we're not going to get political. I refuse. I will X out in 2 seconds.
I don't see where politics comes into this.
A lot of people. If you really go to Facebook, if you really go on some of the message boards and stuff, it's all politically fueled. Here's the deal: you put it very succinctly that the cost of getting something from point A to point B has increased. And that's a trickle down. It's going to trickle all the way down to us and then to our clients. So here's my answer to that. Look for an American-made company, American-made color, manufactured here in the U.S., bottled here in the U.S. I'm all for that. I also think that if you like what you're using, and it could be a European color, it could be from, I don't know, Kazakhstan, whatever. Okay. I think that also your responsible thing to do, besides you're going to have to raise your prices. Besides that is you have to really monitor your usage. Yeah. No longer is it squirting a whole tube into a bowl, glugging developer in there and using a quarter of the bowl, and then the rest of it just sits, you throw it in the sink and it becomes this foamy brain. And that also goes with lightener. We're also talking about lightener here too, guys, is why isn't a percentage of stylists weighing their lightener too? Why are we not measuring? I did a class not that long ago in a shop, and I walked into the back room and I looked in the sink, and literally there was this bowl with this mushroom. It was a mushroom cloud. It looked like from high school. Remember when they show you the atom bomb?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it was tall, and I was like, that's a lot of lightener that was mixed up for, just back on that subject is just, we got to pay attention to what you use too, because all this affects our bottom line. And whether you're an owner, whether you're a stylist, whether you're a renter, whether you're all these people that all use these products, less is more. Let's be honest. Less is more.
Well, they even coined the term shrinkflation. They're giving you less, they're charging you more. Everybody's been having to do that out of necessity more than anything else. You argue about greed and whatever the hell you want. It's just simply people trying to survive. This is an argument that I make all the time. Nobody wants to lose their profit margins. Everybody has to live. Everybody has to make a living to put food on their table. The more you try to pass the buck on to somebody else to pay for something, the more that's going to trickle back down to you. You, the consumer, are always going to lose. You're never going to win, ever. So you need to, there is a delicate balance in that relationship between the consumer and the corporation or the business or the whatever. And like you said earlier, you don't want to get into the politics. There is no, to me, this is nothing political. This is just economic life. It's just simple. If a business is profitable, they can afford to do promotions. They can afford to do things. If a business is not being profitable, they're about to go out of business. So then the only thing they can do is try as hard as they can to either increase their profit margins because they can't afford to do anything else with their promotions. So they have to lower what they give and increase what they charge to try to make up for those losses. I'll say you this way. I love what you said earlier about buying American. Look, it's the equivalent of saying buy local. 100% it's the equivalent of buy local. If a product is manufactured and bottled and shipped within the US, the overhead, the overall overhead is far less than having to import in the product and then do whatever the final thing it is here, whether it's distribute or assemble or manufacture or whatever it is. I don't think people realize you got to get the raw ingredient, you got to do the research and development, then you have to manufacture it, then you have to bottle it, then you have to ship it and distribute it. You know, and then and I'm skipping a couple of steps. I'm just being very general. But those are 5 major things that have to happen before it even gets to distribution. It's not even getting to the shelf yet for you to actually consume and purchase it.
Right.
There's a lot of things going on. All right.
Right.
When it's done, everything locally, yeah, I'm all for it. You know, buy American, buy local. It's synonymous. Those two things are synonymous. It's nothing about being political at all.
Look, that's and that just plays into being a small business owner. Is it plays into, like you said, shop local. I've seen such a drastic, being in the suburbs of Chicago, I've seen such a drastic change over the past few years of clients staying in their area instead of going into the city to get their hair done. Maybe they meet their girlfriends for lunch afterwards and stuff like that, because the cost of going into the city outweighs them going and getting their hair done there. So they're staying local. So get your people to shop local. I'm all for it. I am all for it. And especially,
I don't know. I'll do a shameless plug. You know me. I don't care. HTB Beauty. That's who we are. We are a distributor. We distribute brands. We distribute products.
Right.
And 3/4 of the brands that we represent are made in America. We have a couple of brands that we bring in from Europe because I like them a lot and I believe in them wholeheartedly. But when we look at brands, and especially when we decide on who to bring in and who to represent, oh yeah, I am extremely patriotic. If I can shop local, if I can find a company made in America, I'm really going to give it serious consideration because it's the equivalent of shopping local. Right. So I'm all for it. And guess what? Our hair color, for example, with All Nutrient, cost less than the average thing on the shelf at any other distributor.
And it's
on average, and it's 3.5 ounces a tube. It brings you a minimum of 40% saving. I'm not just saying that for the sake of saying that. We've done the cost analysis compared to other brands. You and I have done presentations to other salon owners and shown them, depending on whatever brand they're using, I think the lowest saving we ever figured out for them was 40%. We've done even higher. I think the best saving we did was like 52 or 53%, something like that. So and that's just All Nutrient. Okay. The Zenogen brand, they're local too. They're made in the United States as well. For thinning hair, for fine hair, for volume, for fullness, for thickness, the cost of Xenogen products compared to other things on the shelf right now cost less, perform equally, if not better.
Right.
It's amazing. Okay. Ergo is not manufactured in America, but is definitely distributed, research developed, and produced in America, you
Right.
know. So and their brushes are fantastic. Any high-end salon knows about Ergo brushes. That's a
Right.
freaking no-brainer. Kerotherapy, they're out of Florida. You know, Ergo's on the West Coast, Kerotherapy's on the East Coast, All Nutrients on the East Coast, Xenogen's in the South. I mean, that's 3/4 of the brands we represent.
Right.
You know, on stage, same thing. They're a half and half, and they're from the South too. So it's a lot of the brands we represent, and that's why the pricing. That's why we can afford to still make a comfortable living with our profit margins and still run promotions with our brands. Because yes, we equally do have overhead like anybody else, but we don't have the same cost like some of the other brands that have to be imported in from overseas, regardless of which country they're coming from. So yeah, I'll take on that argument with anybody. I'll take on that debate with anybody. I'm all for it.
So, since we're talking about products, talk to me about some of the mousses that you play with on a daily basis. Since
you're really on this mousse kick today, huh?
I'm on a mousse kick. I'm going to tell you why. Because
you have to sing the Bohemian Rhapsody with the mousse lyrics.
Got a mousse. But it's because I did 4 blow dries back to back yesterday, and each and every one of them they wanted mousse in their hair, and I was like, you know, we haven't talked about mousse. We haven't done anything about mousse, which is an important tool that we use. It's a liquid tool that we use, and I went, yeah, we're gonna do a dive into mousse, and I'm gonna really rattle Eddie's cage with it. So, you know, I'm a big fan of the all nutrient mousse is one of my favorites. Also the hold on, itch nose. And also some of the other mousses that I have. So talk to me about some of the ones that you use.
I bounce between the 3 of them. I bounce between the all nutrient mousse, the Kerotherapy mousse, and the Xenogen mousse.
Oh,
I bounce between the 3.
Oh, the Xenogen volume foam. That's what I drew.
Xenogen volume foam, yeah.
Yeah. But talk to me. Let's start with the Kerotherapy one because I'm not. Have I used it? Yes, but I'm not super versed in it.
So, okay, real quick. There's 2 kind of mousses, traditionally speaking. There's a wet mousse that foams, and then there is a dry mousse that's kind of like a shaving cream. It golf balls up, okay? So all 3 of these mousses that I'm going to be talking about specifically, the all nutrient, the Kerotherapy, and the Xenogen styling foam, all 3 styling foams, all 3 of them are wet foams. So let me just say that up front first. And that matters. The reason why that matters is because Kerotherapy in general, their benefit, their biggest benefit is the strengthening of their product. They have keratin infused Carabon. They call it Carabon technology. Okay. So there's a protein infusion. There's a keratin infusion for strengthening of the hair into all of their products. A styling foam or a mousse in general is designed to give you volume, fullness, and thickness. Okay. It is best, in my opinion, it should only be used for wet styling, meaning you put it on damp hair, you dry the hair, you blow dry style the hair, you know, and or diffuse it or whatever, but somehow you should dry the hair. I don't like using wet styling foams or mousses on dry hair. I think it makes it too sticky. I think it makes it too crazy. Okay. So with that said, when you have a style that you're trying to create that you want it to be, you want it to last all day, you want some really good hold to it, and you still want it movable, like you don't want it like sticky, too rough or too hard. Using the Kerotherapy styling foam works out really nicely for that. It is really great for heat styling. It is really great for compromised hair. It is really good for strengthening that compromised hair. And especially if you have thicker hair too. Thicker hair generally, because it's thicker, it's heavy, so it tends to collapse. The Kerotherapy styling foam strengthens that hair and helps give it structure, so it prevents it from collapsing so bad too. I really like it a lot. Curly hair, whoa, baby. If you're trying to do a diffuser with the curly hair, it holds that curl and that diffusing. It really keeps all that in place, all that shape in place. So those are some of the quick things that I can say that I like doing about it.
I got a question though.
Yeah.
What's with the metal sign today with you? And
Carmelina says I do the chop too much. She says I give the hand chop way too much, and she said too often. I've really been doing the chop more than ever.
It's the drill instructor in you.
She says lately, this past week, I have really been way too much with the chop. So I've been trying to
go with the metal side.
I don't know what else to do. I don't point. I do not point my finger. I just don't. So anytime I'm trying to give direction to something rather than pointing, I'm always chopping it. And she's got me PTSD over here, Carmelina, So yeah.
I've never noticed you doing the
all that's all I ever do.
Really?
That's all I ever do.
Oh, I've never really noticed it, but I noticed the metal side today. Yeah.
I tell her, go get me that. We're going that way. We're doing this. Like, it's always.
I gotta get you the drill instructor smoking. Seriously, the bear
she says even in class when I'm showing, like, especially keratin bonds or hair extensions in general, I'm always like, this section here, that section there. You put this there like this. I'm never pointing at stuff.
I've never noticed that until
I never realized it until Carmelina pointed it out to me.
Oh my God, that is epic. That is epic.
So now I'm all self-conscious about it and I don't know what to do. So the only other natural thing to me, yeah, I am a rocker. So yeah, it's I don't know.
I'm dying. That was.
We should make that a segment. Fun facts about ourselves that we don't realize we do.
Oh, hey, just to jump into the pool because the water's warm. I get yelled at by Aaron because I say 100% all the time.
You also say right all the time.
Right?
The word right. Yeah. I turned it into a drinking game last week. I never slammed so much tea so quickly.
Every time we talk, and I'm like 100%. She's like, will you stop it?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to change. But yeah, we all have our little idiosyncrasies. And I also get yelled at for the chop. But I just noticed it with you. And plus, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands all the time. So I do aerobics all day long. I should be this big.
I'm very authoritative, so I just it just came natural. Doing the chop came natural. I don't know.
That was epic. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us on that, but I just had to.
I was always told like this: pointing is very rude. Don't do like that. So okay, well, You still got to give directions somehow. I don't know.
Well, I guess it's better than getting popped in the back of the head and then, go, "Are you stupid? Or do you take pills?"
That's why I don't have an occipital bone anymore, because it's been flattened out from all the.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So are you ready for your motivation this week, my friend?
I'm motivated to not point anymore. I'm motivated to not do the rocker.
All right, this is a good one. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. And that's Amelia Earhart, by the way.
Help me on that one.
The most difficult thing is to take action, to act. After that, it is being tenacious, sticking to it, and keep moving forward is what I take from that.
Okay, give me an example. Help me understand. I'm having a hard time wrapping around this one.
The way I look at it is you have choices in everything you do, right? I'll take a year and a half ago when I always use us as an example. A year and a half ago, we came up with this idea of us once a week getting together and doing this, right? And we bandied it back and forth. And how many people told us, "Oh, it'll never work. This doesn't fit into any kind of, you guys don't fit into any kind of mold, blah, 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 blah."
Every single person we presented this concept to for the SFTB podcast told us no.
Okay. But we decided we were going to act on it anyway, didn't we? It was a hard decision because yeah. And now here we are. What episode is this? This is 50, whatever, 57, I think.
59.
59. Okay.
59 weeks later.
59 weeks later. Now, we have kept at it, and we have polished this, and we're even polishing it even more because we've stuck with it. We've been tenacious with this. And I'm just using this as an example. Okay. Look, when I first started in this business, I had someone look at me square in the eye and tell me, "You're not made for this business."
Did she give you the chop?
He did.
Oh.
He didn't give me the chop. He just said, you're not made for this business. This business isn't for you. And I could have folded, right?
That's rough. Yeah, sure.
Could have folded. But no, I said, no. See, for me personally, the biggest thing is don't tell me I can't do something, because I'm going to do it. And that's sticking at that, but it's taking that first step. Then the hardest thing is taking that first step, right? Okay. And then once you take that first step, those steps turn into a jog. That jog turns into a run, right? And that's keeping after, being tenacious to me. And we can all apply that somewhere along in our lives. Look, I'll use you as an example of this. How many times Carmelina shoot you down before she'd say yes?
She's still shooting me down.
Well,
I think no is her favorite word. I swear, I don't think she knows the word yes exists.
But you kept after it. You had the balls enough to keep going after it, right?
I'm still going after her.
Yeah. Now
I flirt with her every day. I still flirt with her every day.
100%. But you kept after it, and most people after one or two no's would have been like, okay, right? But you didn't. Same thing. The hardest thing is taking that first step, and then the rest of it is keeping after.
All right. So then help me understand. Help me learn this. What is it? What is it that makes taking that first step so hard? What is the hurdle that prevents so many people from taking that first action, that first step?
Fear of failure. People
Fear
are
of
scared
failure.
to fail. People are scared to fail. That's a bit
Okay.
and we can go full circle with this too. Is that's why when I get stylists that tell me I'm not a salesperson, because they're scared their clients are going to tell them no.
Okay. Then does the tenacity fall? I mean, that sounds important too. Is that also?
Well, that's the first step, is staying after it. Okay, you asked this client once, but every time that they come in, if you stay on them about, you really should have this product. We should really do this service. This is going to benefit your hair. Staying after it, eventually you're going to get a high percentage of your clientele going, yeah. And then, and it's staying after it. It's right along the lines of you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Okay, then since you was using me as an example earlier, my first time deciding that I wanted to ask out Carmelina, right?
Okay.
And so that was my first action. I decided I'm going to do it.
Right.
So then my tenacity was that whole first year of getting rejected every other day is I felt like the coyote chasing the roadrunner, and just every single other day was just having to get better and prove myself that I can get her noticed.
You were tenacious about it.
Okay.
You do. I remember you looking at me telling me that's the one. And
I knew that. She didn't know that. I knew that though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You knew that. I went, I don't know. You may end up with a steak knife in your ribs at some point, my friend. And that could still happen.
Acrylic nails in my ribs every week, but
I got to pay her for that too. I forgot. Gosh.
So then, all right. I think I'm grasping this now.
Yeah, this was a rough one. This was a rough one, but
the advice is if it's important enough, if you have to decide something out there is important enough, and you have to want it, and then yeah, the tenacity is you have to go after it, and you just have to keep going after it. Exactly. You can't give up. There is no failing. There is no giving up. That fear, just people are scared of rejection that bad. It's that crippling.
I think so.
So then how do you what okay, this is why I'm having a hard time with this one, because I'm goofy like that. I don't have fear like normal person. I don't fear things.
Like humans?
Like what?
Like a human?
Like yeah, I was raised by wolves. I know.
And you sleep in Earth, and when you sleep in Earth from Transylvania, so that's okay.
So then what is an advice that you can give somebody to overcome that initial fear to take that action?
Here's the deal. Failure will not kill you. The word no does not hurt.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
I don't know what more I can say. I mean,
it's such a matter-of-fact thing to me. This is why I struggle with it, right? This is extremely why I struggle with it. I don't understand. I hear so many people like what you're talking about right now talk about fear of rejection. I just don't understand why that fear exists and is manifested at such a level, at such a degree. I just don't get it. The word no is simply that, a word. If you do not like getting no for an answer, simply do not do something that's going to create a yes, no response. Change your approach. Don't ask a question that no could be an answer to. Then don't ask that question that way. Ask that question some other way, where then you have to get a conversational response, not a simple yes no response out of it. If you're trying to go for something and do something, don't do it in such a way where it's either going to work or it's not going to work. Approach what you're about to do in some kind of a way that is a windy road that gives you the ability to zig and zag and like a. I was just listening to a meeting. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the speaker gave the pachinko board as an example. And for those of you who don't know what a pachinko board is, just real quick, it's like a big ass massive pegboard, and you put a disc or a ball at the top of it and you drop it, and it just goes down the line and it just keeps hitting every single peg. And depending on how it hits it, it's going to bounce in some direction. And then eventually it'll get to the bottom. And if you have, say, I don't know, 10 slots wide, and it's a crapshoot. You got a 1 out of 10 that it's going to fall into one of those slots. You don't know which one it's going to fall into.
Right.
That's how you should move forward. Think about it that way. Just get ready to be like bumpers and just bounce along the way. Don't try to take one solid steer path, and because if there's a block in there, then you're stuck. You can't move forward no more. I guess that's what I equate it to for what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the tenacity is you're going to get bounced around on your path. So get prepared to take a bunch of detours to eventually get to where you're trying to go.
But your goal is still to keep moving forward, and no matter what you do in your life, professional, personal, and everything else. And that's the point of it is you got to stay after it. You've got to keep moving forward. So,
okay, that's a great advice. Look, man, it's how I've made it in my career, in my life, in my personal life, in my love life, and everything life. So,
yep,
that is the only choice, because the only other choice is you're curled up in the corner in the fetal position crying.
And then it's and that's a motivation for a different time, because
to be curled up in the fetal position crying in the corner.
Well, that's usually me most mornings. But guys, keep after it. You got to keep after it. Chase your dreams, and the biggest step is taking that first one. Once you overcome that fear of taking that first step, everything else, just stay after it. Bottom line.
Here's something interesting. We had so like I was telling you earlier today, I was at the office yesterday covering. And, we get people, we got our accounts come in and regularly pick up orders. So a couple of the people who came to pick up orders were talking to me about our podcast. And they were saying, we really love, we love everything you do in the podcast, which is thank you. But in particular, a couple of them were mentioning the motivation segment that we do. And they were saying, how do you guys do it? So we get into talking a little bit and they asked a couple of questions. So I thought that was really interesting. That I was able to share some advice about how to get motivated, how to do it, and how we in particular do it. People are interested. So if you're interested, you want to ask us some more questions, we'll always welcome it. We're pretty open, we're pretty willing to share personal information. Just be prepared that the information we're going to be sharing with you is not always going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
We have a very colored past. So be mindful of the responses you're expecting to get from us.
And be mindful of giving the drill instructor chop.
It was pointed out to me. I didn't realize they do it.
Well, as always, everybody who supports us, everybody who's watching, anybody who's going to watch this, we appreciate each and every one of you. I have a little homework for all you guys. Anybody who's watching, in the comments, what motivates you? Give us 1 or 2 word answer to what motivates you. We don't need a dissertation. I just want to know what other people's minds are like. So
I definitely like dissertations.
Okay, so do a dissertation for Eddie.
I want the deep dive.
Okay, Eddie wants a deep dive.
Do one comment for John, 2 words, because that's his vocabulary limit, and then do a second comment and leave me a paragraph. I need something to read. So yeah. Last shout out about the class that we got coming up on March 10. Go to htbbeauty.com to sign up for it. We got about 20 seats left for the March 10. May 19th is starting to pre-sell as well too. Thank you always for watching. Catch you next week.
The SFTB podcast was not recorded in front of a live studio audience, so thanks for joining us for today's episode. If our hair topics made you smile, give us a thumbs up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll read them while waiting for our caller to process. Share this video with your stylists and friends. It helps us make a difference, one strand at a time. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Because your hair deserves all the latest and greatest tips.